So there's a few things I've been concerned about with the car. I've been losing coolant somewhere, so I need to check up. I believe it's my oil filter housing gasket, and so I bought all the stuff needed for the repair, for the replacement. It's a pretty labor-intensive thing, so I don't want to have to do it if I don't have to. I'll be changing my oil today, and if I see something I don't like, I'll probably be changing the gaskets and then the coolant as well. But the first thing I'll be doing is just changing my oil filter, and seeing what it looks like, and then we'll kind of go from there. Hopefully everything looks good. So I just pulled out the old oil filter. Inside the housing, everything seems to be all right. I mean, the oil's really, really dark, but that was kind of to be expected. This car wasn't in the greatest shape when I got it. The filter itself, I'm kind of worried about, because for some reason it like shrank, as you can see, and it was only probably about 4,000, probably about 4,000 miles since the last oil change. So I'm a little concerned about that. I guess we'll see once I pull the rest of my oil pan. I mean, as soon as I pull all the old oil out, I'll kind of take a look see what's going on there. Everything else seems to be okay. It definitely smells like fuel. So I know I have leaky injectors, which, I mean, that was nothing new. I've known that since I got the car, so hopefully those will be getting replaced soon, and hopefully everything else that comes out of this car looks okay. I don't know, we'll see. I started to take the oil out. Everything looks okay. It's just dark, but it doesn't look milky, which is what I was really, really, really concerned about. Hold my intercooler off. Everything seems to be okay. You could see right here, this is the outlet side from the turbos. You can see there is a little bit of oil right here around the edges. So this intercooler was brand new, 3,000 miles ago. So there is a little bit of oil that's coming through. Nothing that I wasn't expecting. I've got a kit, a PCV valve kit that should theoretically stop anything like this from happening. I'm going to be getting catch cans, which should prevent any sort of oil in the intake. The oil is still draining away. There's a little bit more, and then once it's done, I'll actually be able to pull it out and take a look and see how it looks like, see if there's anything I should be really worried about. I think I'm probably going to end up draining the coolant, just to check whether there's any oil in there. And then I don't have much time today, but it's looking like I'll probably have to just end up staying up all night and doing the oil filter housing gasket and the oil cooler filter, or whatever the other gasket is, just to be safe, because I've put a lot of work into this car and I don't want something to go wrong that I could have prevented. So I'm probably going to end up doing that. We'll see. It's looking like it's going to be a long night. So, oh boy. I've been making some pretty good progress. I got the oil cooler housing adapter. I don't know what it's called. Pretty much where the oil cooler bolts up to the oil filter housing. I pulled that off, and it seems to be looking okay, except this. This is not good. I don't know if you could see. I'll try to get a flashlight soon. Here, let me grab a flashlight really quickly. So, if you look really closely, there's a bunch of garbage, and that's the coolant passageway. It's so nasty. Whoever had this before me did not maintain it well. So, I'm definitely glad I decided to pull this off. I'm going to be pulling this whole thing off, and then cleaning that out for sure, 100%, and then replacing the gasket. So the gasket itself looks like it's pretty intact, except for maybe right here, which it looks a little flat, and that might be where my coolant leak was, so we'll see. I went to take off the oil filter housing, and from what it said on the forums is all the bolts would be pretty accessible. Unfortunately, one of mine is not that accessible, so it looks like I'm going to have to be taking off my intake manifold to actually get to it, which is even more of a setback than I thought there would be earlier, because it's going to take a little bit of time. So you can see, well, it's difficult to see. Grab the flashlight. The bolt that I have to get to is right in there. So I don't know if you could see it, but that bolt underneath right there, under the intake manifold, right there, is the one that I have to get to. So I'm going to be pulling my entire manifold off just to get my oil filter housing off. Love it. I went straight into the oil. I had to take a little bit of a break because I had to go to choir practice. So I'm back at the shop. Just came back from a meeting. It is currently 12:46, so it's 1 a.m. in the morning. And I still have a lot of work to do. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I can get this buttoned up, cleaned up, and all back on within 2 hours. We'll kind of see how everything goes. Hopefully nothing comes up. This is the current state of the car as is. So got the oil filter housing off. It's just over there on the ground, needs to be cleaned. Intake manifold is off. And yeah, only a couple more things to button up, so hopefully it gets done soon. It is 4 a.m. pretty much, almost 3:54 a.m. But hey, it's done. Unfortunately, I didn't get any clips of me putting it all back together, as I was too tired and I wanted to get it done. And my dad needs the garage for tomorrow morning, so I had to finish tonight because he'll be back in here tomorrow morning. Hopefully next time I'll be able to find a time where he won't be using the garage and I can keep the car in here for a day or two. That way I don't have to kind of rush things and I can really take my time and record everything and make sure everything's good. But for tonight, it's done. It's got fresh oil, fresh coolant, fresh oil filter housing gaskets. So hopefully this fixed my coolant issues, my coolant and oil issues. I do think that, I don't know, it's kind of difficult to tell, but the coolant that came out of the car is a very like green kind of brownish color, and it's only been in here for like 3,000 miles. When I first swapped the car, I put in fresh coolant at the beginning, and as you can see, this is a much bluer color. So that technically is what it should look like, but it looks like that greenish brownish. So I think that I was getting oil into the coolant and coolant into the oil. hopefully that was because of those gaskets that I changed, and from now on, hopefully I don't have any sort of those same issues. I've been thinking about it more and more, and I'm gonna be doing inlets and outlets soon. So usually those are a pain to get to because they're right here on the passenger side where the turbos are, and there's absolutely no room in there. So I think looks like my rear main seal is leaking from what I looked, from what I could tell under the car. So I think in a month or so, maybe 2 months, I'll probably end up pulling the whole motor out of the car again for the second time to install inlets, outlets, do the rear main seal, do other stuff like that I missed the first time, that I should have done the first time at least. So that's that. I'm still deciding, but I'm pretty sure I'll have to end up pulling the engine, and I'll definitely make a video out of that, so stay tuned.